Bickley and Marotta. Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
When the Spurs raced out to a 10-0 lead on Thursday, I thought to myself, what are the Suns doing? Is this a bullpen game? When the Suns caught the Spurs in the fourth quarter only to go right back to sleep, I thought to myself, wow, the only thing that would make Greg Popovich happier is if Robert Sarver was sitting across from him holding a giant foam finger. And when the Suns lost to a rebuilding team for the second time in 3 nights, I saw more red flags than white flags. Everyone not named Devin Booker is not exempt this morning. I worry about the defensive deficiencies and the point guard dilemma, a couple of issues we identified before the season even began. But after 5 games, I also worry about time catching up with KD. I worry about Bradley Beal and why he looks so happy missing games. I worry about everything because of the great expectations attached to this team and the great cost it took to assemble this team, from trades to salary cap ramifications. After all, new owner Matt Ishbia declared the Suns the best team in the NBA. Now, after the game, new head coach Frank Vogel was not happy, and maybe that's good. Maybe this team needs some anger and some intensity and some urgency, and like Jonathan Gannon, maybe the Suns head coach needs to find his killers before this season can take flight. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
Your blast today, Bick, conjured up lines from the original Spider-Man movie. You know, the one, like, 47 Spider-Man movies
around
ago?
like number 48?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So from Spider-Man 1, when Uncle Ben tells Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's true.
Well, you're talking
That's
about
really
expectations. True. With great expectations comes great consternation.
Yeah, it does.
So
yes.
This is
hyperbolic a bit, but you're right. It's the expectations.
It's not necessarily, oh, come on, it's only early November. Suns fans, are conditioned to watching this team win a lot of basketball games. Mm-hmm. They're not conditioned to watching a lesser team, a team that was projected by most to be among the worst in the Western Conference, come into their place and beat them twice in 2 wildly different fashions.
Yes.
So to watch it, there's a visceral reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
And last night was the loss on Tuesday was rough. When you blow a 20-point lead and then fall asleep in the last 30 seconds of the game and allow a young team to steal a game, that's one thing. But it also led me to believe, okay, not only are they going to be guarded against that happening again, your best player in Devin Booker's coming back. And by the way, he played brilliantly.
He did. Yeah.
Did not start out well, but as the game wore on, he willed, Frank Vogel said it, he willed us back into the game.
Right. Because that's what he does.
They got manhandled for most of that game.
They did.
By that same Spurs team.
And I'm sure you've heard from the same people who are saying, yep, see, this is the Yusuf Nurkic that we all knew about. It's a little bit early to be condemning individual players. And I targeted a few in my blast because I'm just giving you perceptions because of what, like Vinny said, the expectations for this team were through the roof, including me. I really thought this team was capable of the mid-60s in terms of regular season victories. To your credit, Vinny, you were much more moderate in terms of what you expected early on. I thought this team was going to hit the ground flying, and that has not been the case.
I think that time is coming.
I agree with you. I'm not saying I don't believe in this team, but I am saying that Frank Vogel is a defensive-minded coach. Okay? And this team is not playing good defense. They're not playing aggressive in your face, get down and guard people. I don't think they were physical enough last night, and I worry about that. And I think that some of the other concerns I'm watching as well. But I do think that maybe these 2 games against San Antonio, it might sharpen things up here. I had mentioned if you took the second half of Tuesday's game, which was the second half of the sucker punch on Tuesday for all of us sports fans in the Valley, right?
Yeah, fun night.
Oh, yeah, great night. If you took the second half of Tuesday's game and the first half of Thursday's game, the Suns gave up 145 points in those 4 quarters.
So you're saying that's
yeah.
not good.
No, I'm saying that's not good. And that 100 in the second half on Tuesday, the Spurs shot 55.3%, scored 70 points, and then 75 points on 54% shooting in the first half of Thursday's game. For a team like this, a team like the Spurs should not be that comfortable shooting the basketball.
No, they were very comfortable, especially early. The defense on the threes led to a lot of open three looks, and they knocked them down to their credit. And they're not a great shooting team. They were shooting like 31% from three-point range coming in. They hit close to 50% of their three-pointers.
Yep.
Kevin Durant after the game talking about losing close games back to back.
We're not frustrated, Losses happen in this league. It's still early, like you said. I mean, I know we want to win every game. I know we know our fan base want to win every game, but keep grinding, keep moving on, move on to the next one. We got a 3-game road trip and try to lock in and do our best to come back home with some wins.
This is where I don't necessarily agree with Kevin Durant. Look, there's obviously competitive fires that burn. Mm-hmm. Big picture in the NBA, the thinking has changed. I agree with the part the fan base wants to win every game. We went through that experience 2 years ago. 64 wins. The fan base was on cloud 9 when the playoffs rolled around. Mm-hmm. Nobody's touching us. This team has been razor sharp all year. And I don't want to say this as a negative or a pejorative. I don't think it's that important for NBA teams and individuals to win every game anymore.
No.
It's just
not.
It's not.
It's just not.
It sounds counterintuitive, but there's so many examples of teams putting too much, the Suns 2 years ago, putting too much stock in the regular season. Mm-hmm. Right now, and I struggle with it because I want the Suns to win every game. I've got fan in me. I want to see that. I want to see brilliant players be brilliant on a regular basis. This point of the season is about them meshing and improving. Mm-hmm. The frustration, and it came up in your blast too, the frustration with that meshing process now is it's been delayed because Bradley Beal's not ready to go yet. Mm-hmm. And that is frustrating because you want this meshing process to start as early as possible.
Yeah.
Because these guys are going to miss time too.
Well, and again, I do think that they do have to kind of drill down to exactly who is this team, and I don't mean that figuratively. I mean that literally. Who is this team? And when you talk about who are you becoming? When you talk about finding your killers, Keita Bates-Diop last night, okay, he got a chance and he came through. This might be one of those moments where you're like, okay, that's one of our dudes, one of our dogs, and so it is a process, and I'm not being disrespectful to that. It just losing to that team twice in the span of 3 days. I expected a rage victory from the Suns last night. The return of Devin Booker, and okay, you know what? You guys got us in the second half on Tuesday. We got something for you now.
Yeah.
And it was exactly the opposite, and that was a little worrying to me.
Can't disagree with you. And now they go on the road for 3, starting with a date against the reigning MVP of the NBA, Joel Embiid, and the 76ers, who are now free of the James Harden issue. But did you see some of his comments?
I would be so happy if I never had to talk about James Harden on this show.
Saying things like, I can fit in anywhere. Sure you can. Mm-hmm. You choose not to, but you could.
Right. I can fit in anywhere as long as they give me the ball and let me dribble 20 seconds out of 24 and then shoot the ball. I can fit in any place. If it's all about me, I can fit in any place.
Amen.